In this video, I am going to explain a very powerful method that we can all use to help us to recover from heartbreak. And when I'm talking about heartbreak, I mean specifically betrayal and cheating. Warning, this is hard. It's going to require you to feel very uncomfortable, but it absolutely works. So the reason that I am focusing specifically on betrayal is because I think it can provoke such a whirlwind of emotions that we can get really stuck with. Anger, despair, loss, resentment, rage. These are not good emotions. They keep us in a low frequency and ultimately they can make us sick. So we really do want to try and lift ourselves out of that state. Now, for anyone out there that is going through heartbreak, listen, I really believe that we all get amnesia around how absolutely agonizingly brutal it is, because when you're in it, it's just the worst thing ever. So I really do feel for you. And also, I think people can be very harsh on themselves. They can really beat themselves up and be like, what's wrong with me? Why am I like this? I'm such a loser. No, I don't agree with that at all. I truly believe that heartbreak is up there with one of the hardest things that we can go through in life. And I really believe that it sits side by side with grief. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's such a universal experience. Most people have experienced heartbreak, unfortunately. So, how do we move ourselves out of this absolute hellhole? Well, you've heard it all before, but it's true. You are going to have to work on the power of forgiveness to set yourself free. And when people say time is the biggest healer, I think it's just that this process of forgiveness really can take time. So what is forgiveness? Ultimately, it's accepting. It's accepting that this happened, because I think we can go into this rumination hole in our heads where we go over and over again a sequence of events that led to that betrayal. And really, that's our minds just trying to process it, when really there is absolutely nothing that we can do. This was always going to happen. And I'm also a massive believer in destiny. I believe that we sign up for our greatest gifts and our greatest struggles, and that divine timing is real. And unfortunately, when someone else shows up on the scene, it definitely doesn't feel so divine, does it? But maybe accepting the fact that every single timeline was always going to lead to this point, that this was always going to happen, that it sadly was a karmic connection, and that there's nothing you can do because it was in the hands of fate, destiny, God. So how do we move forward? Right, well, we are going to have to set our minds and our hearts free by moving out of this horrible, resentful, hateful state. And the way that we can do this is by meditating every single day for 5 minutes. Set a timer on your phone. And you have to pray, not just for your ex-partner, but for the person that they cheated on you with. Told you this wasn't going to be easy. I know that you're probably feeling a lot of resentment and anger, and you're thinking, I do not want to pray for this person. Spend 5 minutes sending that person love from your heart, sending them compassion, wishing them to have their best life, praying that all their hopes and their dreams and their desires are realized. Really wish for them to get everything that they want in life. Now, I know that when we are in a place of despair and we kind of feel that that other person is the source of all our suffering, this is such a hard thing to do. But I just want to remind you that when we are in a state of hate and resentment, we're not operating from the core of who we are, because the core of who we are is love. We are operating from our primitive fight, flight, freeze, stress responses, okay? When we move out of that state, when we're in a more logical, rational part of our minds, and when we're operating from true alignment, we are endlessly loving and compassionate and empathy, and have love for all and all situations. We really do. So when we do this, what's going to happen initially is it is very, very triggering. You're going to feel really uncomfortable. It's hard to think of that other person without getting very, very worked up. But this is part of the process, okay? You've just got to persevere with it and really send them that love and compassion. Now, usually what happens around 10 days in, so you want to do this for about 30 days minimum, is that those feelings of hate, anger, and resentment kind of start to neutralize, okay? And then, and this is the incredible part, Once you get to the 30-day mark, or it might be longer for some of you, you get to a point where you are praying for this person. I've done this, it really works. You are actually genuinely rooting for them. You really want them to be happy. You want to see them do well. And you find yourself actually liking this person. Now, I know that when you're in your place of hate, you're thinking, I do not want to like that person. But when you feel like that, your heart is free. You don't care anymore. It's called the power of letting go. And once we let go and we are operating from that state of harmony and balance and alignment, I promise you, you will feel so much better. The resentment, the hate, the sadness, the loss, the despair, it is out of your system. You're in alignment. You will feel so good. And when we're in that space, incredible things can happen and show up in our lives. Please try this 5 minutes a day for 30 days. Set a timer on your phone. Pray for the other person. It works.